AudiobookHub recommendation. If it ever feels like other people have a remote control to your mood, one comment, one glare, one disappointing reaction, and suddenly your whole day shifts, this audio summary is for you. You'll be guided through a simple, practical mindset. Let me, so you can stop wrestling with what you can't control and return to what you can. AudiobookHub 1, The Power to Let Them. In this first chapter, the focus is on something many people feel, even if they rarely say it out loud. Other people can affect life profoundly. Picture a day that starts out genuinely good. Maybe there's a sense of calm, maybe even joy. And then, in a moment, everything shifts. A boss snaps or yells, seemingly out of nowhere. A quick glance online shows a post you felt proud of. Yet there are no comments, no signs that anyone noticed. Later, a family member, like a mother-in-law, offers a lecture about parenting, and the evening that could have been peaceful starts to unravel. When moments like that stack up, it's understandable to wonder, almost desperately, if I just work harder, if I just do better, if I anticipate what everyone wants, will it finally be enough? But here's the tender truth. Even if someone jumps higher and tries harder, someone may still be disappointed. Not because you failed, but because no one can control other people's reactions. People come with their own histories, expectations, insecurities, and moods. And those things spill out, sometimes unfairly, onto the people around them. This is where the shift begins. A small shift in perspective that can feel like a deep exhale. The idea is simple. Stop giving other people power over you. Stop spending precious energy trying to make someone else match your expectations or trying to manage their emotions so you can feel safe. Instead, let them reveal who they are. Let them show their true nature, their patterns, their choices. And then gently bring the focus back to the only place where real power lives. Back to you. So yes, let them yell. Let them lecture. Let them be disappointed. Let them make a face. Let them misunderstand. Let them have a moment, and then remember, you still have power over yourself. You have power over your next breath, your next boundary, your next decision, your next step. It may help to understand why the urge to control is so strong. Often it's rooted in fear. When someone asks a partner to behave at a party, it may not be about control for control's sake. Underneath it, there's often a fear of being judged, a worry about what others might think, a hope that if everything goes smoothly, it will feel safer. Trying to control other people can create an illusion of safety. But it stays an illusion because other people are not controllable. And that constant effort, anticipating, managing, preventing, can quietly drain a person's life force. Now, imagine a different possibility. What if the moment you truly accept that you cannot control what others do is the moment you begin to feel free? This is the heart of the let them approach. It's simple, but it's not shallow. It's not just a feel-good phrase. It's a practical tool that can change relationships, reduce stress, and restore a sense of inner steadiness. And throughout this narration, there will be ways to apply it in real life, so that let them isn't just an idea, but a way of returning to yourself. Takeaway for this chapter. Other people's reactions are not yours to manage. You can let them be who they are and bring your energy back to what you can control. Your response, your choices, and your direction. AudiobookHub 2, Let Them, Let Me. In this chapter, the idea becomes even more practical. The phrase let them doesn't stand alone. It's meant to be followed by something just as important. Let me. Before getting into that, it helps to know that this approach has roots in wisdom traditions and psychological ideas that have supported people for centuries. Stoicism, for example, teaches a steady focus on what can be controlled. One's thoughts, one's actions, one's integrity. It invites people to stop wrestling with what belongs to others. Buddhism and radical acceptance offer another gentle truth. Resisting reality creates suffering. When a person argues with what's already happening, internally or externally, stress multiplies. When a person faces the present moment with clarity, peace becomes more possible. And detachment theory encourages calm in triggering situations by releasing the grip of emotional reactivity. So another person's mood doesn't automatically become your storm. All of these ideas can feel lofty in a book, but they become powerful when translated into everyday life. A difficult conversation, a tense workplace, a family moment that pushes buttons. Mel Robbins captures the spirit of it with this line, It's time to play your hand and win the game of life. In other words, life will deal its cards. Other people will do what they do. The real question is, what will you do with what you've been given? This is where let them becomes a doorway and let me becomes the path forward. When someone is rude, critical, or dismissive, it can feel personal. But a hateful comment doesn't change your appearance, your skills, your character, or your worth. What changes, if you let it, is your internal state, your confidence, your peace, your sense of safety. So the practice becomes accept that the comment happened, let them, and then choose your response. Let me. Because challenges will come, the difference maker is how a person responds. There's also a brain-based reason this matters. The prefrontal cortex is the part of the brain that helps with planning, focus, decision-making. What many people think of as their wise mind. Under stress, that wise mind can go offline. When stress spikes, the amygdala, the small almond-shaped part of the brain, takes over, preparing the body for fight, flight, or freeze. This response is designed to protect you from danger. But in modern life, the danger often looks like a harsh email, a tense meeting, or a family conflict. And when people live in chronic stress, they can end up reacting quickly, urgently, automatically, without that pause where better choices live. So what helps? A simple cue to the nervous system that says, I'm safe enough to think. That's part of what let them can do. It can signal to the brain that it doesn't need to go to war. It can create a tiny pause, a breath-sized gap, where the prefrontal cortex can come back online. And yes, the breath matters. Deep breathing reduces the stress response. It's one of the simplest tools available, and it can be used quietly anywhere. So imagine a moment at work when someone yells. The old pattern might be to yell back, freeze, people please, or spiral internally for hours. The new pattern can be softer and stronger at the same time. Pause. Take a breath. In your mind, say, let them yell, and then ask, let me, what? Let me choose my response. Let me stay grounded. Let me speak clearly. Let me step away. Let me follow up later. Let me protect my peace and still act with integrity. Takeaway for this chapter. Let them helps you accept what you can't control. Let me helps you reclaim what you can, your breath, your nervous system, your choices, and your next move. AudiobookHub 3. When you're stuck, this chapter turns toward a feeling many people know well, feeling stuck. Work is often a primary source of stress. It pays the bills, so it can feel non-negotiable. And when something feels non-negotiable, people can start believing they have no power at all. Over time, that tension can turn into burnout, especially when someone spends more waking hours with colleagues than with friends or family. Maybe a person works hard, delivers excellent results, and still gets overlooked for a promotion. Or maybe colleagues make passive-aggressive comments that chip away at confidence and motivation. In those moments, it's natural to think, I can't change this. But the let them approach offers a different way to see it. Let them overlook you. Let them be unfair. Let them be toxic, not because it's okay and not because it doesn't hurt, but because acknowledging reality ends the exhausting fight against it. And once reality is acknowledged, choice returns. Then comes the next part. Let me decide what's next. Let me update my resume. Let me explore new opportunities. Let me learn a new skill. Let me prepare for interviews. Let me reach out to my network. Let me move toward a workplace that fits better. Yes, a job change may take time. It could take months. But months of movement can feel far better than months or years of quiet misery. Even small actions restore a sense of agency. And when someone feels frozen, a simple push can help. Count from 5 down to 1 and then do the thing. Send the email. Open the document. Take the first step. The point isn't to do everything at once. It's to remember that you are not trapped. You may have simply forgotten how to push. Work isn't the only place people feel stuck. Entrepreneurs, for example, often feel stress around visibility, especially on social media. Yet social media can be a powerful tool for growth when used intentionally. There's a simple formula shared here for helping people learn about a product or skill. First, create a basic website with a description of the business and some photos. Next, ask clients for references or feedback and feature those on the site. Then, post online and use social media as a marketing path that redirects potential customers to the website. Of course, that can trigger social insecurity. People may worry about what others will think if a personal page becomes business-focused. That fear is common because, again, it's tied to judgment and belonging. And the let them mindset can help there too. Let them think what they think. Let me build what I'm building. Another area that can make people feel powerless is global politics. It can feel enormous, complex, and slow-moving. While it may not be as immediately changeable as updating a resume, influence is still possible. People can talk about issues that matter, volunteer, educate themselves, and spread awareness. They can choose to participate rather than wait for someone else to fix things. In each case, career stress, business anxiety, global concerns, chronic stress can cloud judgment and delay happiness. The mind gets busy, the body gets tense, and life starts to feel like it's happening to you. But the thread running through this chapter is steady. When you stop spending energy trying to control what you can't, you create energy for what you can. Takeaway for this chapter: feeling stuck often comes from focusing on what's out of your hands. Let them names reality. Let me brings back motion, one small, doable step at a time. AudiobookHub 4, What Holds You Back? This chapter gently explores what often holds people back. The fear of being judged, misunderstood, or disliked. Some people will stress you out. Some people will think badly of you. And no matter how carefully you manage yourself, you cannot control that. Most people care what others think, even the ones who pretend they don't. And when that fear takes the lead, it can turn into self-rejection, overthinking the perfect idea, weighing every word, editing your personality down to what feels acceptable, censoring dreams before they ever leave your mouth. The painful part is that this doesn't just create anxiety. It also blocks opportunity. If you never say what you think, people can't respond to the real you. If you never share your goals, others can't support you, collaborate with you, or open doors for you. So the practice here is surprisingly freeing. Let them have their opinions. Let them misunderstand. Let them judge. Let them assume. Let them be wrong about you. Because a bad thought about you doesn't change who you are. It may help to remember something human. People have critical thoughts even about those they love. Someone might adore their mom and still feel irritated by her cleaning frenzies or unsolicited comments. Someone might love their partner deeply and still feel disgusted by an annoying habit. Those thoughts don't erase love and they don't redefine the other person. They're just thoughts. In the same way, someone else having a negative thought about you doesn't rewrite your identity. It doesn't delete your strengths. It doesn't erase your progress. And as a person begins making decisions they feel proud of, dependence on outside approval tends to soften. When you know you acted with integrity, worked hard, and stayed true to your values, other people's opinions don't grip as tightly. Their judgment may still sting, but it doesn't steer the whole ship. This chapter also touches comparison. Life isn't fair, and it can be frustrating to watch someone else receive what you've had to fight for. Comparison can trigger doubt and procrastination. It can pull energy away from your own path. The let them approach here sounds like, let them succeed. Let them be ahead. Let them get the easy break. And then, let me keep going. Let me focus on what matters to me. Let me build my life. Mel Robbins puts it clearly. The more you let people be who they are, the better your relationships will be. Of course, family opinions can be the hardest to release. Family members have history with you. Their words can land in tender places. This is where the frame of reference tool comes in. The idea is to understand how someone's background and context shape their perspective, so you can respond with wisdom rather than taking everything personally. For example, a father might seem emotionally unavailable. He may struggle to talk about feelings. And still, he may care deeply about a child's future and well-being. If he served in the military and grew up with an emotionally distant father, he may view love as responsibility and provision more than verbal affection. Knowing his frame of reference doesn't mean excusing hurtful behavior, but it can help you interpret it more accurately and respond with compassion instead of self-blame. Takeaway for this chapter: other people's opinions are real, but they aren't rulers of your identity. When you let people have their thoughts, you create room to speak, act, and build a life you respect. AudiobookHub 5, The Grow Up Moment. This chapter explores emotional maturity, what it looks like, why some people don't have it, and how you can protect your peace around emotionally reactive behavior. Sometimes adult reactions can seem immature, and it helps to remember something simple. Adults feel emotions as intensely as children. The difference is that many adults learn how to handle emotions, or at least they have the chance to learn. Children learn emotional processing by experiencing the full wave of emotion. They cry, they tantrum, they ride it out. They need support and space to feel, name, and recover. But if children are repeatedly told to stop overreacting, to calm down instantly, or to shut emotions away, they may never develop healthy emotional regulation. Over time, that can create adults who still don't know how to process feelings safely. So when someone overreacts, sulks, explodes, or becomes cruel, one reframing can soften your internal struggle. Imagine they're like an 8-year-old who never learned the skills they needed. This doesn't mean you accept harmful behavior. It simply means you don't have to take it as personally, and you don't have to become responsible for fixing it. There's an important boundary here. Helping a child accept and navigate emotions is an adult's responsibility. Doing that emotional work for another adult is not. When emotions are avoided for years, never expressed, never processed, people can end up with depression, anxiety, chronic pain, addictions, and patterns that damage relationships. Some adults use silent treatment. Some slam doors. Some erupt. Some punish others with moodiness and withdrawal. And this is where let them becomes a form of disengagement that protects you. Let them have their reaction. Let them storm. Let them sulk. And then, let me step back. Let me not chase. Let me not beg. Let me not become their emotional manager. The chapter also offers a brave mirror. What if you notice immaturity in yourself? Recognizing that pattern takes courage, and it's also the beginning of growth. When someone can admit, I need space to process my feelings, they can begin learning how to master reactions instead of being driven by them. Here's a helpful detail to remember. Emotions are brief chemical reactions in the brain. They can fire within 6 seconds of a trigger. Often, the emotional wave rises and fades within about 90 seconds, if it isn't continually fed by rumination, story-making, or re-triggering. So one gentle practice is learning to ride the wave. Feel it. Breathe through it. Let it crest. Let it pass. This can create a life where emotions are honored, but they don't take the wheel. Takeaway for this chapter: you don't have to parent another adult's emotions. You can let them have their reactions and let yourself step back, breathe, and respond from a steadier place. AudiobookHub 6, Make the Change Real. This chapter moves into change, especially the kind of change people wish they could create in others. It can look like change is easier for everyone else. But the truth is, change is difficult for most people. And sometimes, even well-meaning encouragement can come out sounding like pressure, which tends to backfire. Adults typically change when they want to. That desire is the core of motivation. Human nature also has a pattern. People seek pleasure and avoid pain. So if the gym is associated with struggle, discomfort, or shame, motivation may drop. But if exercise is tied to something enjoyable, like playing basketball with friends, motivation rises because the brain anticipates pleasure. So one helpful approach is to reduce the sense of threat around a new habit, to create a bridge between discomfort and meaning, to help the brain feel that the change is supportive, not punishing. This applies not only to self-change, but also to influencing others. It's unlikely you can directly change someone else's opinions and behaviors through force. But influence is possible, and one gentle, effective way to influence is to model what you wish to see. Think about how it feels to watch a calm, beautiful morning routine. A long walk, a healthy breakfast, a tidy space, a peaceful rhythm. Many people feel inspired instantly, not because someone told them what to do, but because they saw the benefit. That's the principle here. Motivate through inspiration rather than force. If you want a partner to eat healthier, for example, it tends to work better to embody healthier choices than to demand them while snacking on junk food. When the change is visible and genuine, it becomes more inviting. Over time, people may adopt new habits, often believing it was their idea, and there's a final grounding reminder. Another person's desire to change needs to at least match your wish for them to change. Sometimes people prefer things as they are. Sometimes they aren't ready. Sometimes they won't choose growth in the way you want. So again, the practice returns. Let them be, and let yourself decide what to do next. What boundaries to set, what standards to keep, what future you're willing to build. Takeaway for this chapter: you can't force change in others, but you can influence through example and clarity. Let them choose their pace, and let yourself choose your response and your path forward. AudiobookHub 7. Try this. This final chapter is an invitation to practice. Not perfectly, just honestly. The goal is to begin letting go of what drains you and reclaiming energy for what strengthens you. Here's a simple checklist you can try, starting right now. First, identify your triggers. Choose 3 situations where you feel tempted to control other people. Maybe it's how someone speaks in public. Maybe it's how a coworker does a task. Maybe it's how a family member parents, spends money, or reacts emotionally. Once you name the trigger, take a moment to reflect. Why does this feel so intense? What fear or need is under it? And what might it mean to release it, even a little? Second, pause before reacting. For the next week, when you feel the urge to intervene, correct or manage, take one deep breath. Then ask gently, does this truly require my engagement? Or can I let them handle it? Even that one pause can change everything. Third, set boundaries gently. Think of 1 or 2 areas where stepping back feels overdue. Maybe it's saying no to a request that drains you. Maybe it's refusing to participate in a familiar argument. Practice being assertive and compassionate at the same time. Fourth, reframe the outcome. Each evening, write down one moment when you let someone be themselves. Notice how it felt in your body to let go. Notice any positive changes. Maybe the conversation got lighter. Maybe you felt calmer. Maybe you saved energy. Fifth, celebrate wins. Keep track of small victories. A task someone handled without your help. A moment you didn't over-explain. A day you didn't spiral after a comment. These are not minor. They are evidence of growth. Sixth, learn to redirect your energy. Choose one hobby, passion, or goal you've neglected, and give it at least 20 minutes a week. The point is to move your attention away from managing others and back toward building your life. Seventh, create a mantra. Choose a short, calming phrase you can repeat when you feel overwhelmed. Something like, they have their choices and I have mine. Or simply, let me. And as you practice, it may help to remember what this is truly about. Letting go isn't about losing control. It's about gaining freedom. It's about trusting yourself enough to handle what happens, without trying to prevent every possible discomfort. This is a powerful journey, and it begins with small, steady choices. Takeaway for this chapter: practice let them in real moments, then follow it with let me. Each time you pause, breathe, set a boundary, or redirect your energy, you build more peace and more personal power.